Our veterans need you.
There are more than 8 million enrollees in healthcare at the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Veterans from previous generations.
And veterans from today's wars.
Challenging medical conditions.
And more women returning than ever before.
Or redefining how care is provided.
Serve those who served our nation.
Bring your medical and healthcare skills to VA. America's heroes need you. Visit vacareers.va.gov.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 61. Thursday, a chance for thunderstorms with a high near 64. And Friday, sunny with a high near 83. Clean ingredients and bold flavors are the hallmarks of 30 Bales in Hopkins. Their signature burgers, seasonal salads, and carefully crafted entrees celebrate the best of the Midwest. Located across the street from the Hopkins Center for the Arts at 1106 Main Street with plenty of free parking. More at 30bales.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us, share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story, this is our story. This is Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken.
And this is Ghostbox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakken. Thank you for joining me tonight. You know, we're going to be talking about haunted destinations tonight, and I think it's going to be a great conversation. I want to hear what you all have to say, places that you like to go, but I have to give another update on the Quick Trip situation that I'm sure many of you are out there right now going, oh my goodness, we're still talking about this. Yes, we are still talking about this, because for those who did not pay attention to the saga last night, is that I made a promise when I started doing the nightly shows that I was not going to go to Quick Trip every night to get a snack, because I am already on the road to obesity, and this is just kind of the free way to get there. But Monday night I already broke that, my first night doing the show. Tuesday night I went there. Tonight I'm going to go because I need dinner. I haven't had dinner yet. I didn't eat till lunch. I've been on the phone all day. And I haven't been able to get anything done. So a sane person would be like, well, I guess that means that I don't eat until tomorrow. That's just how this works. But in fact, what it means is that I am going to actually go and stuff more food in my face. And that's just how it works. So, you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, here's the thing. Quick Trip has, first of all, decent chicken tenders. And if you haven't got their mac and cheese, which I'm thinking as a pair, I can have some of that, put it away, and maybe even have some tomorrow. Who am I kidding? I'm not going to have some left over for tomorrow. I mean, let's be real about this, for goodness sake. I mean, that's just not how it works for me. I don't think I've ever left food on a plate, to be very honest. But, you know, stranger things have happened. When I had COVID back in April, apart from the fact I nearly died, I lost 20 some pounds. And I thought, this is a great opportunity for me to go ahead and start that exercise regimen that I needed to do to kind of get back on track. No, that's not how that works either. It might work for some of you fancy people, but that is not how it works. And it is very much, it's very much going to be mac and cheese and chicken fingers or whatever, strips or whatever we want to call them. Luckily, you like me for what's on the inside than on the outside, right? I think that's the way that works. So I will keep you updated. We're going to talk more food in a little bit, because the Grand House has very kindly alerted us to what we're going to get in the buffet on Friday at our event at the Grand House in Rush City, where we do our presentation on the paranormal. which is going to be fantastic. You come on out. That's Friday. The presentation starts at 6:30. The doors open for the buffet at 5:30. Stick around. We're going to talk about what's going on with that. That's a teaser. We don't want to give away too much food information. Breaking news on the food front for the paranormal presentation. So stand by for that. Something to look forward to, but also something a little bit more real we're going to talk about. This is all going to be in the second segment. We're going to talk about something real that we're attaching to this event, that someone needs our help. And we're going to really make sure that that is something that we're able to do our best to help out a friend. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the second segment. Like I said, we're going to be talking today about haunted destinations. Now, originally we were going to have Angie Sturm on talking about the Bell Mansion. She has a lot going on at the moment, so she asked if she could reschedule, which absolutely, that makes a lot of sense, especially if you have a lot going on. So the question became then, well, what do we talk about tonight? And I thought, well, I think maybe we do an introduction for the new audience, people who haven't listened before. I think there's so many of you out there who are probably like, well, I've heard about different locations. I've heard about places that are haunted, but where do I go if I want to do this? I get that question all the time. Is there haunted places in Minnesota? Yeah, there's a couple. I'm also part of the belief that everywhere is haunted. I do truly believe that everywhere is haunted. It's just a matter if it's active or not. And so, for example, the studios of AM 950, I think that there's stuff going on here. There's to my left, there is a window for the hallway that's out there. Now there's no one else in here, and I did really had to turn my head because at one point tonight, because I thought I saw someone walking by. And I've been doing this now for a little while in this room, and I have the lights down low, and they haven't flickered like they do in the studio that I normally would be in. They're flickering tonight. So there's a couple things tonight that that made me go, well, what's going on here? And honestly, it doesn't frighten me or anything. I mean, this is what I'm into it for. This is what I like to be a part of this, so that we can explore and interact with spirit and stuff. But I had wondered, do I put a camera? There's a camera in the other studio. Do I put like a REM pod in there or something, a little device that will go off if certain energy fields are broken? And we have the camera. Do I do that? Excuse me. Do I do that and see if the REM pod goes off during any of our lovely nights together? So let me know if you find that to be interesting at all as well. And don't forget too, if you have any feedback about the show or anything you want to share with us, go ahead, send me a note over at comment@am950radio.com or comment@ghostboxradio.com. Matter of fact, I'd prefer if you send it to ghostboxradio.com. So afterwards, we'll go through all those again. So we talked about AM 950. I didn't really mean to, but tonight there's just a lot of stuff going on here. Now, for a paranormal show, I'm looking through the comments that people are leaving on Facebook. You can watch us on Facebook. We're streaming live on the AM 950 radio page, as well as Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken Facebook page and Things Network. We're all talking about food tonight, aren't we? We are absolutely all talking about food, and I get it. We're all hungry. We're always hungry, aren't we? And there's nothing wrong with that. Nicole, don't feel called out. That wasn't the point, but I figured that you might think it that way. It's funny. Where no one's really talking about where to go for destinations. But we're all talking about food, and I like that. But I'm gonna switch the subject, move it all over just a little bit more to the haunted locations. I see that there's some people over at Gettysburg, which I love. I love Gettysburg. I was supposed to actually be at the Gettysburg Bash this weekend speaking, but I decided that it's just not at the moment the right decision for me, and I let the people running it know, and they totally understood. And I think that my concerns are very warranted, and that they're going to be keeping an eye out. So it's all going to be good. I hope those who are out in Gettysburg have a great time. Gettysburg itself, I've had some incredible stuff happen to me, and I've done shows on it before too, where you go out to the battlefield, and we kind of broke the rules a little bit when we went out to the Gettysburg battlefield, because they close at 10 at night. So we were a little bit late to get in there. It was a little after 10. It's about 3 a.m. and we get in there, and we stop the car. My friend Christy, my friend Aaron, both of whom I just met at an event, Dinner with a Ghost at Air Ridge, a place in Gettysburg. We get out of the car, and we're just sitting around. It's nighttime. It's really dark. And I look over, we all look over, and there's like a small hill, and fog starts coming down the hill, maybe about a knee high, this fog. It's like following the contours of the road. My memory of it has it just being the size of the road. I'm sure it was the whole field. I mean, it's probably my memory's cheating. It's coming at us. And next thing you know, we're enveloped in fog. And then as quickly as it showed up, it disappeared. And I am just absolutely, to this day, I think it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been and ever done any sort of, it wasn't even a paranormal investigation. And Aaron, we're driving around, and he kept getting freaked out because there's so many monuments everywhere in the battlefields, from the different battalions, from the different states, from the different regencies. And he would keep getting freaked because they were statues of people. So he kept thinking that these are people. And it was, it's funny, but it's also scary when you're driving and you think, oh my gosh, there it is, a spirit. We've been looking for that for a long time. So it's pretty crazy. Why don't we do this? Let's take our first break. When we come back, we're going to continue talking about haunted destinations. I want to talk about some of the local ones around here. When we get to the third segment, we can talk about some of the ones outside of Minnesota. And we have some stuff to talk about, and breaking news and food. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
It's an absolute must for any true foodie. Vinaigrette at 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis offers premium oils and vinegars for the most discriminating of tastes. This is Sarah Piepenberg, owner of Vinaigrette. We bottle on-site, there's no guesswork, and you get to taste test each and every oil and vinegar we offer. Our direct relationship with the growers ensures an uncompromised level of satisfaction. When you need to know you're cooking with the finest ingredients, first contact the independently owned Vinaigrette, 50th and Xerxes in South Minneapolis. Online at vinaigrettemn.com.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. We're heading into July and the heart of summer. The backyard barbecues over Independence Day will bring a lot of family and friends over to the house, and your kids will spend a lot of time outdoors on the sports fields and in the backyard. But that also means your guests are going to be spilling the potato salad, and your kids are going to be tracking in who knows what from their outdoor explorations or off the sports fields. July is National Carpet Cleaning Month, and because of that, check out this amazing deal Zero Res has going. Zero Res is offering 3 rooms starting at just $129 and get a 4th room free. It's also the perfect time of year to get your air ducts cleaned this month and take 20% off any air duct cleaning. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Again, don't wait. Book your appointment today. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Connections Radio Show is all about tapping into our hardwired hunger to connect. We examine meaningful connections to ourselves, our community, and the world around us. By opening the door to innovative insights by a wide variety of interesting guests, we'll make the connections to something bigger than ourselves. Join me, Lori Fitz, your host of Connections Radio Show, and together we'll make the connections. Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, the most informative source for progressive politics and news in the Twin Cities. Get involved online at am950radio.com, where you can sign up for our weekly newsletter, check out the local businesses that help make this content available, and stay up to date on the latest news and upcoming events. You can always reach us by email at comment@am950radio.com. That's comment@am950radio.com. Thanks for listening.
And welcome back to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950. My name is Greg Bach, and thank you very much for joining me on this Wednesday evening. We are talking about haunted destinations, but we have some breaking news in food when it comes to paranormal presentations. As we have mentioned a number of times, and we really do hope that as many people as possible can come out to the Grand House in Rush City this Friday. The presentation, which encompasses all sorts of evidence that we've collected on one part of one investigation. It took 18 minutes. We're going to break it out. We're going to play this evidence. It's going to be disembodied voices, EVPs, recordings of channeling, spirit box, knocking on the walls, then also as well as backing it up with some information that's been found in historical documents afterwards. It is truly amazing. Like I said, that starts at 6:30. That's $10 for the presentation. But let's say that you're hungry, and I'm always hungry. So just say that you're hungry and you're like, well, Greg, do I have to eat before I get there? It's like, no, you go to the Grand House, get there at 5:30, and the Grand House is going to have a dinner for you that you can pay $17.99 for, and it is Mississippi pot roast sliders, Anderson House dilly bites, which I don't know what that is, but I'm interested, garden salad with dressing, which I do need that, assorted chips, dessert, and a choice of beverage, all for just under $18. And get yourself filled up, get yourself in the mood for a presentation about the paranormal, and it's going to be an amazing night. So many good things about this evening. One of them being this great food that the Grand House is putting together, the presentation, the fact it's in the Grand House, which is truly one of the most beautiful places in Minnesota. Rush City is one of the most beautiful places in Minnesota. It is fantastic. And there's something else that we'd like your help with. For those of you who might remember, back in April, we did a special 2-hour Ghostbox Radio after hours, I think is what we called it. And it was all about UFOs. And we had on there John from the phone. Shar Savoy was on with us, but we also had John Yost with us. And John, you may remember John, he had done the film Alien Abduction Answers in 2022. And he talked about his experience with getting abducted at a young age. We got the horrible news this week that John is suffering from pancreatic cancer, and he is actually needing to leave his home in the East Coast to go to Arizona for special treatment that is outrageously expensive. So we talked with him today, and we had decided, Shar and I, it was Shar's idea, first of all, which is brilliant. Shar said, why don't we donate all the proceeds, not the food proceeds, but the proceeds from the presentation portion of the event to John for his medical expenditures. And I just think it's absolutely fantastic idea. And Shar, thank you for that idea. John was overwhelmed to hear that. And so that's another reason why we really want people to come out this Friday to be able to help with that. Every penny helps. We're going to donate. And then also we're going to ask people if they would like to donate more, they're more than welcome to. I have up on the screen right now, for those who are watching on Facebook, there is the QR code. Feel free to take a picture of it, or, use your camera to be able to donate. I understand money is tight right now, but I don't think I'm oversaying it when I say John is fighting for his life. So if there's any way you can help, please do so. I really would appreciate it. I know John would very much appreciate it, but do what you can. I appreciate all of you, and I know that things just aren't as easy to do as possible, but if you can, that would be truly amazing. So that's what we're doing on Friday, and we are actually definitely going to be giving all those proceeds, minus the food proceeds, to John. We're going to be donating those to him. So we're really excited about that. Grand House in Rush City. If you haven't been there, it's beautiful. We're talking about haunted destinations, haunted locations. It's truly amazing. When we do our classes, Shar and I do these paranormal classes, we tend to take our students to a location to test out their skills, so to speak, not even test it out, that's the wrong word for it, but to be able to have the opportunity to investigate a location. And a lot of times, most times, we're taking them to the Grand House because it's a very safe place, yet very active, but with spirits who are very welcoming. There's a lot. I have a list of locations that I wanted to talk about tonight. We're not going to get to them all, but there's a few on there that aren't quite as good as that. Brad has just said that he has donated to the GoFundMe. Brad, thank you so very much. That's very kind of you. I don't mean to turn this into a telethon, so please forgive me. But when somebody is fighting for their lives, I am very grateful for getting past some of my stuff this year. So I appreciate that very much. And I this isn't how the show is always going to go. We're not going to be doing this sort of thing, but John is a very, very special case and a good friend, and just want to help him out if we can. So the Grand House is a great place. There is also a Masonic Lodge kitty corner to that we have been able to investigate in before. We did a live there, and that's a very interesting location as well. Right next to that in Rush City, there is the funeral parlor. So it's kind of a bit of a triangle there. But the one thing that I've noticed and thought about quite a bit about these locations is the ability that it's not always about the spirits that are in that are in the locations. It's not, you're not thinking about, oh, well, so-and-so has been purported to have passed away here, therefore that's the only people we're going to bring in. There's other spirits that are in town or whatever. I mean, we picked up some very interesting people that are nowhere near Minnesota using spirit box and stuff at those Grand House locations. And it is very much a kind of it's been really fun to see what we bring in. And when I say that, we're not bringing in nasty things at all. What we're doing is we're bringing in like spirits that we want to talk to. And, I'm not going to say who they are because quite frankly, you're going to be like, are you kidding me? But if you know me at all, and if you know Shar at all, you know that it's going to be like some very unexpected people that you wouldn't expect at the Grand House. Let's put it that way. And then, our friend Becky, she manages the Grand House, also the Anderson House in Wabasha, Minnesota, which is another beautiful location. And what's amazing about that, we're going to be doing our Dave Schrader event there. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But I do want to talk a little bit more about some other Minnesota locations. A couple of you have put into the comments some places that you want to talk about. Please keep adding more. I'd be happy to hear more because, honestly, there is so many great locations, and there's so much that we could talk about. Let's take another break. When we come back, let's talk about more locations. We'll talk about like the Palmer House. We'll talk about some other places as well, and just continue our great conversation. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
Hi, this is Chad from AM 950. Snap Construction is arguably the most well-reviewed roofing, siding, window, and insulation contractor in the metro. Ryan is so excited about working with AM 950 and our listeners that he wants to help us grow.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. I was friends with Chad long before I started marketing with him. I was a bit skeptical of radio advertising before Chad convinced us to run ads. The advertising's been so successful, we want to help the station grow. We've absolutely loved working with the listeners of AM 950, and we all know how extremely important this radio station is to the community. To help AM 950 grow, Snap Construction will be putting up proceeds to assist the station in marketing on social media. Snap Construction encourages you to follow, engage, share, and interact on the AM 950 social media platforms. Together, we can all work to ensure AM 950 continues to thrive and grow in our communities. We stand by our work with a lifetime craftsmanship guarantee. For a free estimate or more information on our financing, call 612-333-SNAP or check us out online.
As a teacher, having a foster grandparent in my room, it enables me to have an extra set of hands.
Foster grandparents are role models, tutors, and friends to children with exceptional needs.
It's been fantastic having Grandma Freddie in our room.
It is the best feeling in the world. I'm a best student because of her.
To learn more about how to become a foster grandparent and help children in need, call 1-800-942-2677 or visit SeniorCorps at nationalservice.gov.
Hi, this is Laura. Listen to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. or anytime via podcast. Our individual health is connected to the health of each other and connected to the health of the earth. We know the problems with the dominant food system: climate change, deadening soils, nitrates in the water, factory farming, injustice, concentration of wealth. How do we both as individuals and as a community step up and support a living food system which honors the earth? Tune to Food Freedom Radio every Saturday at 8 a.m. and remember to support your independent farmers.
I love my Toyota vehicles, so when it's time for me to get my service done, there's only one place I go: Rudy Luther Toyota. They know Toyotas inside and out. It starts with them checking your alignment and tire treads with their Hunter Quick Check Drive inspection service. Oil changes, tires, batteries, wipers, no matter what you need done, they can help you with reliable Toyota parts and the best service team in Minnesota. Check out their website, rudyluthertoyota.com, for service and part specials just for Toyota vehicles. Get your Toyota serviced at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Hi, I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
Your hosts for Searching for Service. Tune in to Rotary's influential show and podcast, sharing touching stories of service locally and abroad.
We bring you weekly guests that connect, inform, and inspire our listeners on all things service.
We highlight diverse service opportunities that appeal to both Rotarians and people driven to serve in their communities.
Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. or anytime via podcast. It's time
to stop searching
and start serving.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 61. Thursday, a chance for thunderstorms with a high near 64. And Friday, sunny with a high near 83. With craft spirits, mouth-watering entrees, and plenty of free parking, 30 Bales in Hopkins is the perfect place to relax and enjoy the best of Midwestern cuisine. Some of the favorites include the devilish eggs, beet salad, short rib pot pie, and decadent burgers. Located at 1106 Main Street in Hopkins, or at 30bales.com. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Man, everybody's talking about food. I mean, it seems to be in every commercial. I don't know. I mean, it's just making me hungry. That's all I know. And I that's really all I do know in general is about food. But I guess the moral to the story is don't come to the station hungry. Because first of all, they're not going to feed you. And second of all, it's just, you can, hopefully you're not hearing the stomach growling on the air. I mean, we'll just pretend it's like a demon or something instead. So welcome back to Ghostbox Radio. We've been talking about haunted locations, and I want to get to what some of you have been putting into the comments, because there's other places I want to talk to. Now, we had Jenny talk about Gettysburg. And I hope that her and Bonnie have a great trip out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Gettysburg. I love Deadwood, first of all. Deadwood, South Dakota is a fantastic location. The problem is in the main street where it's the more historical, old buildings. A lot of that is a lot of like shops that are, selling touristy sort of stuff. That's fine. But when you go to Gettysburg, what you end up with is like a real town. I mean, yeah, you do get some of those places, but generally it's a real town that has a lot of great stores. It has its own identity. It's not all selling T-shirts and whatnot, and you're truly walking around in history. Now, Nicole says Whaley House is an interesting place to visit. I always feel something when I'm there. The energy is so intense that I don't know how the roof doesn't blow off that tiny haunted house. I don't know either, but I've never been there. I've heard of it. That sounds, it sounds like a great place. Now, my question is to a lot of places, and I got to be careful about this because what you get at these locations is different by person. But have you been to a place, for all you well-seasoned paranormal investigators who, like myself, go around the country, visit these locations? Have you ever gone to a location that everyone says it's off the hook, and it's so not off the hook that there's actually not a phone there? I mean, it's just so dead. There is nothing happening at this location. Have you been to one of those? I've been to a couple. If you're too afraid to put that in the comments, and I might be too afraid to read it, to be honest, because I'm not trying to ruin anyone's business. But there are some of those situations that people are like, this is amazing. And I'll be like, nothing happened the entire night. Now, you might say that, well, that's just because, maybe you're having an off night being an investigator. We went on a trip at early June, a bunch of us, and we went to a couple locations that are very well known, and not a whole lot happened there. Yet on the other side of things, we went to we ended up investigating stuff such as in Kentucky at West Point. We went into Indiana, and we are actually, we were blown away by what we got because we didn't expect it to happen, and yet it happened in droves. It just rained activity in ways that we didn't know. And we've talked about this on a few episodes, so I'm not going to regurgitate it. But it is one of those things that, sometimes when you're least expecting it, that's when it really comes to light. And I find that very, very interesting. Now, Jeremy, hi, Jeremy. Thank you for listening tonight. Is there a top 3 list of places in Minnesota that you would recommend for a novice like myself to visit? Now, that's going to be subjective. I will give you my few that I think are very good. Others might be like, oh, for God's sake, Greg, no. Number 1, I would say the Palmer House in Sauk Center, Minnesota. The Palmer House has been seen on a number of programs. It is a very active location. What I like about it is that the spirits are very, very kind. They're good people, and it's not a scary location. If you're going to a Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa, that might be a different story. I mean, anything that's called an axe murder house probably is not going to be all that great. So Palmer House, I always consider, and these aren't like order from best to worst. I'm just saying that these are some options. Palmer House, go up there for a weekend and stay. The Grant House, of course, in Rush City. It's small. There's about 10 rooms in there. It's fantastic. But, these are locations. Also, it's a good point to remember that these locations, if you want to investigate, find an event. If you've not investigated before, find an event to join in on, or talk to the hotel before you decide to do any kind of investigating, because just because it's called a haunted location, it doesn't mean that people can just go in there willy-nilly and investigate away. That and this is just some advice. You need to do it this way because it's an active. These are active hotels, so you can't go in and we had a situation when somebody had asked me when I was staying at the Grand House, "What room are you in?" Because I'd like to go in there and investigate it. Are you kidding me? You have no right. You have no right to even ask what room I'm in. But people, some who are considered themselves seasoned investigators, they don't quite understand what that means, and so it's always about respect. So if you're going to go to these places, my recommendation would be finding out if there is an event going on. For example, if you want to investigate, there's a great place called the Anderson House, and we're holding an event there in August, as it happens, with Dave Schrader. These are great ways to kind of get in. You're around like people. Check the hotel websites as well. So I mentioned Palmer, Grant, Anderson. There is also St. Anthony, Maine, where you can go out to the birthplace of Minneapolis. And what happens there is that there's a tour, and I don't know how good this is anymore. When I started in the field, this tour was going on. It's Friday and Saturday nights, and they'll take you around within some of these buildings and outside the buildings. But back when I was going there, a lot of the space was not rented out. It wasn't occupied. So we were all around those old buildings in the basement, places that I don't think you have access to anymore. And I would go there every week, and that was my practice grounds for doing spirit box work. I'd go there with my spirit box, and I would just reach out to spirits. And I became almost like people would show up because they knew I was going to be there, and I'd do spirit box, and people would watch it, and we would just communicate with spirits. I just find that to be such a gratifying experience, and there's always good to have people around that are with you when you're doing these investigations. I don't know how much you're investigating in St. Anthony, Maine anymore, but I think it's still worth going there and checking it out because, first of all, it's beautiful. And I think that's always a great big part of it. Now, right next to it is Progna in Maine, which had been closed for years. And I understand that there's going to be new owners if that hasn't been already announced. And my recommendation to them, because they brought me in during that period of time to talk with them about ideas and stuff, was to definitely have some space available in Progna to do investigations. So hopefully there is something there that can help move that and get that to be a great place, because it's a great idea. So I would definitely recommend that as well. One place that we all hear about, but we can't really do a whole lot in, is called the St. James Hotel in Red Wing. By all accounts, it's extraordinarily haunted, but the St. James is not very keen on paranormal, and that's their prerogative. They own the building. They don't have to like it just because people say that there's spirits in there. So they kind of shy away from that sort of thing. I would love to do an investigation there. I know a lot of us would love to do an investigation there, but once again, it's an active hotel. So if you want to go there and investigate in your room, probably not a problem, just be respectful, but you can't go walking around with your paranormal equipment. They probably will take some sort of disapproval to that, would be my guess. But yeah, that's really what it comes down to. And there's a lot of other places that you really can't get into at all to do an investigation, such as the Glen Sheen Mansion in Duluth. Would love to be able to go in there, but they're very careful about it. They don't want that to be a part of it. They're so careful in there. They don't want flash photography because they don't want the flash on the wallpaper. They're very careful about the locations, and it's you got to respect that. And speaking of Duluth, there is the Irving. It's a boat, a great big boat, and they had done some investigations. It's also known for being like a haunted house during Halloween. So, I mean, there's a lot of options in Minnesota, and there's more. There's a lot more. The problem is, I feel, and others may disagree. Oh, there's another one. The Boyd House. I'll mention the Boyd House as well, in Boyd, Minnesota. The thing is, I find Minnesota actually very difficult to get into locations. You know, I've been around the country, going to a lot of these places, and there's so many places that I've been privy to going into where the people with me would be like, we'd like to investigate here or do an event here. Can we do that? And they all are like, well, let's talk about it. Let's work it out. I find that to be a lot harder in Minnesota. We do have one. Shar and I actually have one that we put together that we'll be announcing in a week or so, another event in September, where it's one of those things that no one's investigated in there before. But it's surprising how it is not quite as easy to get into as other places. I don't know what it is about Minnesota. And, you know, I mean, funny thing is, I see other paranormal groups seemingly get into everywhere that they possibly want. And yet when I ask, it seems like every single time it's like, oh, we can't, or they have something else going on or whatever. One place in the Twin Cities in downtown Minneapolis, or going right over to Minneapolis on of Hennepin, was the old Nye's building. You guys remember Nye's, the restaurant, the prime rib sandwiches, the open face prime rib sandwiches, the wonderful boozy cocktails, the lounge, the piano singer. What a time trip. We're going back in time, literally, before they tore it down. I didn't even ask to go in there for a paranormal investigation. I just wanted to go in there and photograph it to document this location. They wouldn't let me. They wouldn't let me do it. It's a bummer. You run into that quite a bit, actually, and that's just how it goes, because you want to be able to see these places, and they don't always want to let you do it too. Also, the Aveda location off of Central Avenue, the Aveda Institute. If anybody knows anyone who works there, please let me know, because that is a hot spot. We've been wanting to get in there for years. So we're going to, if anyone knows of a way in, please let me know. We're going to take our last break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some other locations, some locations I've been to outside of Minnesota, and we'll take a look at the comments, see if anyone has anything else to add. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
Hello, this is Ellie Krug with Ellie 2.0 Radio. Now my show will be on Saturdays from 10 to 11 and replayed on Sundays from 1 to 2. You will get to the best of Ellie 2.0 with talking about idealism, with guests who come in and who are idealistic, who are trying to change the world. And you will get me, Super Idealist. Tune in. We can't wait to hear from you. And you'll hear from me Saturdays from 10 to 11.
I'm Candy Brothel.
I'm Elizabeth Sullivan.
And I'm Kelly Wagner.
Energize yourself with AM 950's Sunday Shine Radio from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Sunday Shine Radio radiates wellness, consciousness, and curiosity.
Join me, Candy Brothel, for Green Tea Conversations at 10 a.m.
Exploring Sovereignty with Elizabeth at 11 a.m.
And the Being Curious Show at noon.
Our lineup focuses on igniting your own self-discovery and personal wellness.
Tune in every Sunday for Sunday Shine Radio from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
And let us guide you on an inspirational journey each week.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
Hey, it's Tom. Fossil fuels continue to have negative impacts on our environment. Luckily, there are more ways now than ever to use renewable energy in your home or business. All Energy Solar offers smart energy solutions like custom solar paneling, electric vehicle chargers, and energy storage. Solar panel systems can last for decades, meaning you can help the environment and cut back on electric bills for years to come. There are incentives and rebates available to most people who install solar energy, too. Last year, the federal solar tax credit increased to a 30% tax credit. This incentive can be used in combination with other incentives from your utility, county, or city. But don't delay or miss out, as many of these incentives are limited to only a certain number of people. So have a professional from All Energy Solar help you discover how solar can power up your property while saving on your energy costs. Call 800-620-3370 or visit allenergysolar.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Peterson with the Minnesota News Network, inviting you to join us this week for Minnesota Matters, a news, entertainment, and sports show covering everything that matters in the North Star State. Tune us in right here or at your convenience at minnesotanewsnetwork.com.
Listen to Minnesota Matters every weekend, Sunday mornings at 6:30 on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
And join us tomorrow on Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bach, and we're going to tackle a very fluffy, light subject tomorrow, and that would be demonology, as we bring in Father Kenneth Torres. He just wrote a book, a manual, Introduction to the Demonic, and we're going to be talking about that. Now, of course, I'm kidding about the light and fluffy part of it, but we are going to be talking demonology tomorrow. Amongst the many things that Father Torres does is that he is part of the Warren Legacy Foundation. We're going to be talking a little bit about that and anything else that's on your mind. And then, of course, Friday, we call it Casual Friday. We're going to be doing paranormal news. We're going to be talking about a bunch of interesting things that have been going on over the past couple weeks that we wanted to fill you in on. And also, please, your mail, your feedback on the show. Are you liking the show? Are you enjoying it? Send me a note. Comment at ghostboxradio.com. Comment at ghostboxradio.com. You can send it to me there. You can send it to me as a message on Facebook. We'd love to know what you think of it. I'm having a great time. I hope that you're enjoying it as well. I'm very grateful to be here. And people are like, yeah, so fluffy. I know. It's, we're just kind of trying to take the edge off over here, right? So we were talking about Minnesota locations. Let's go outside of Minnesota, okay? One of the places I do want to talk about, because when I posted on Facebook that we're doing a show about this, I did have Debbie Cushman reach out, and she's just like, well, don't forget the Octagon Mansion, 585 Octagon Mansion, and that's in Wytheville, Virginia. And I've investigated that place so many times. And it's a great location. First of all, it is a Civil War museum, and it is filled with all of this amazing memorabilia. It's not really memorabilia. I don't call it that if it's actually legitimate stuff. And it's all curated, and it's all from one person's collection, John B. Cushman, who's a good friend of mine. And we've investigated there a number of times. He does these events called Dinner with the Ghost, and they're phenomenal. And I don't know how far they're traveling these days. COVID, as it had for many things, had put a damper on a lot of businesses. And so when before that, they traveled all over the country. In fact, I don't remember if they did a Dinner with a Ghost in Minnesota. I do recall that they did one in Mitchell, South Dakota, over at the Corn Palace, which would be another place I'd find to be very interesting in investigating. But the Octagon Mansion, and I ask you to go check out their Facebook page, Octagon Mansion 585. It is beautiful. There isn't that many Octagon Mansions left. I want to say there's like 6 or something. We'll get John on at some point if he can stay awake this late, because I don't think he can. And we can talk more about it. But he and a small group of people spent a great deal of time renovating it, doing their work on it to make it a better, make it serviceable. It's beautiful on the inside. Go check it out. I've done live feeds from there, all sorts of stuff. It is legit. We got a lot of disembodied voices, shadow people, all sorts of great things. Now, Christine has just wrote that Delaware has so many places. My house for one part of the Underground Railroad, 1683. That's just amazing. That is history right there. And when I was out over in the East Coast in Connecticut, incredible activity. The house I stayed at, the Airbnb house when I went to Gettysburg, was more haunted than anywhere else I went to in Gettysburg for that trip. It was off the charts. It was palpable. You know, it was like you'd walk in, immediately you were hit with this energy of what it's like. It was unbelievable. And Christine says, you're welcome to visit. I may take you up on that. It sounds amazing. The Airbnb house that I stayed in Gettysburg was from 1851. Now, keep in mind that the Civil War didn't start for another 10 years or so. And I remember looking in the kitchen, this is during daytime, and there was one singularity pillar of smoke, fog, whatever it was, thin, and it was coming towards me as if it was a person. Where did that come from? You know, I mean, that's the sort of thing. And I saw a shadow figure there, disembodied voices. This is where I was staying, and I was already going to haunted events, and I didn't want to stay at a place that was, you know, it's like you gotta break away at some point. But boy, that was pretty incredible. Another place I want to mention before we get off here is the Birdcage Theater in Arizona, and it's absolutely so haunted. It's so bad. I mean, it's so much activity in there, and to the point that when they were giving in Tombstone, they were giving us a tour inside there. A woman who was wearing a period dress had a big bow tie at the back of the dress, and we were watching Nicole, that's Tombstone, Arizona, and we were watching the bow tie untie itself, and like literally like one thread undoes it to and it elongates to make the whole thing fall apart. That's incredible. And we got, you know, a lot of disembodied voices in there. They wouldn't let me use Spirit Box in there. They think that it's like Ouija board. And as much as I disagree with that, it's their house, their rules, you know, that's how it works. But, you know, once again, all of Tombstone, Arizona is truly a haunted location. They have this great, beautiful city hall there. That's another place. If I could investigate there, do an event there, that would be pretty incredible. It's just one of those most beautiful locations. Granted, you will melt because, you know, on an average day, it's like 112 out there. And someone had to stop us to talk to us because they just had a feeling that we were investigators and whatnot. And it was in the middle of the road in Tombstone. And, you know, I'm surprised I didn't spontaneously combust, but, you know, luckily I didn't. So I don't know. So these are just a few locations. We've all been to a lot more. I didn't talk about the Queen Mary or some of the other places I've been to, but you know, these are some great locations. And what I want to do in upcoming episodes is bring on people who run these locations to talk about them. Because once again, if you're planning a road trip or something, it's not a bad idea to go out there and maybe check out some of these places. So definitely take a look. I hope you enjoyed this tonight. You know, for those of you who are interested, we can meet over at the Quick Trip, you know, get mac and cheese for everybody. Tomorrow we're talking demonology with Father Kenneth Torres, and we're going to talk about Warren Legacy Foundation as well. I really appreciate everybody, and we didn't talk about McAteer, but we will in 2 weeks. Thank you for joining us. See you tomorrow.
Do yourself a favor and check out the amazing cuisine of eatlocalminnesota.com. More than just a website, eatlocalminnesota.com provides you with the best local and independently owned restaurants in the Twin Cities. Specializing in